But then, something moved. His shadow. It did not follow his movements. It twisted, stretched unnaturally. Then a scream pierced the night. A woman's cry. Kwame leapt to his feet, sprinting toward the village. The man lay motionless on the ground. His eyes were wide open. I saw it. It was a shadow. It came from the darkness. It attacked him and then disappeared. Shadow judged him, but Kwame knew something was wrong. Something unnatural had awakened. And then another scream. Kwame jumped to his feet, his spear in hand. Another body lay on the ground. This time, it was Badu, the blacksmith. His lifeless eyes stared at the sky, his face frozen in horror. His chest was slashed open, just like Kojo's. A woman sobbed. The shadow, it came again. I saw it move. Kwame's blood turned cold. Two men, both dead, both known for their wickedness. He clenched his fists. He needed answers. Now, Baba Kofi stepped beside him. This is not the work of man, the elder said gravely. This is a curse, a punishment. Kwame turned to him. A curse? The old man nodded. Long ago, the gods punished those who strayed from the path. But such things have not happened in generations. If this is happening now... He paused, his voice heavy. Then something powerful has awakened. Kwame swallowed hard. Was it his shadow? Was it choosing its victims? If so, who'd be next? Kwame felt the weight of the villagers' stares. They were looking to him for protection, for answers. But how could he fight something that had no body? How could he kill a shadow? His thoughts raced as he knelt beside Badu's body. The deep gashes on his chest looked like claw marks. No human had done this. No beast had done this. It was something else. Something unseen. Something deadly. Who saw it? Kwame asked, his voice firm. A young girl stepped forward. Her name was Abina, the blacksmith's daughter. Tears ran down her cheeks as she pointed toward the ground. I saw it move, she whispered. It was his own shadow. A ripple of fear spread through the crowd. Some gasped, others stepped back, suddenly afraid of their own dark shapes on the ground. Kwame's pulse quickened. Could it be? He glanced down at his own shadow. Still, silent, but was it truly his? Baba Kofi's voice broke the silence. This is a warning, he said gravely. Only those with wicked hearts have been taken. The gods do not strike without reason. Murmurs spread among the villagers. The gods, someone whispered. Is this justice? Another asked. Kwame clenched his jaw. He did not believe in random punishments from the gods. No, this was something else. Something darker. Everyone, go back to your huts, he commanded. Do not step outside until sunrise. The villagers obeyed, hurrying away, shutting their doors tight. But Kwame stayed behind. He had to know the truth. He stood alone under the moonlight. His shadow stretched before him, watching, waiting. Then it moved. Not with him. Not like a normal shadow. It twisted, stretched, stood up like a man made of darkness. Kwame's breath caught in his throat. His shadow had come to life, and it was staring right at him. Kwame couldn't move. His legs felt like heavy stones. His shadow, his own shadow, was standing before him. It had no eyes, no mouth, no face. Just a tall, shifting form of darkness. But somehow, Kwame knew. It was looking at him. His grip on his spear tightened. What are you? He whispered. The shadow tilted its head, as if thinking. Then, in a voice that sounded like many whispers at once, it spoke. I am you. Kwame's blood ran cold. The shadow took a slow step forward. Kwame stepped back. The ground beneath him felt unsteady, as if the world itself had changed. I am what you refuse to see. Kwame swallowed hard. You killed them? He said, his voice sharp. Kojo, Badu. The shadow did not move. They were guilty. Kwame's heart pounded. Guilty? He thought of Kojo's cheating ways, of Badu's cruelty to his apprentices. The two men had not been good people, but did they deserve to die? You have no right, Kwame said, anger rising in his chest. Who gave you the power to judge? The shadow's form flickered, as if the wind had tried to scatter it, but it did not disappear. You did. The word sent a chill through Kwame's spine. The shadow took another step closer. Every time you saw injustice and did nothing, every time you held back your rage, every time you wished for punishment but stayed your hand, Kwame's breath hitched. He had spent years as a warrior, watching tyrants rule, watching the weak suffer. He had wanted justice, but he had never acted. Now, something deep within him had. The shadow raised its hand, its long, black fingers stretching toward Kwame's chest. I do what you will not. Kwame's skin prickled. Had he created this? Had his anger, his unspoken rage, given birth to a hunter in the darkness? He shook his head. No, this had to end. I will stop you, he said. The shadow laughed. It was a hollow, chilling sound. You cannot stop yourself. Then in an instant it vanished. Kwame staggered back, his heart slamming in his chest. He looked around wildly, but the shadow was gone. Had it disappeared, or had it simply returned to him? The night was silent. The village slept, unaware of what had just happened. But Kwame knew, and he knew this was far from over, because somewhere in the village, someone else would sin, and the hunter in the darkness would return. Kwame barely slept that night. He lay awake, staring at the flickering shadows on his hut's walls, listening to every sound outside. But nothing came. By dawn, he was already up, standing at the center of the village as the sun cast long shadows around him. Was it truly gone? Or was it waiting? A scream shattered the morning air. Kwame spun around, heart pounding. The cry had come from the western side of the village.